Good evening, folks. I thought I would talk to you for just a moment. Now, I noticed I was watching a live stream last night on YouTube, and I've seen several videos about this, and I've had the same problem myself, is pickle worms. They'll get on your cucumbers, they can get on your squash, and I thought my squash was gone. And I went out there this evening and checked it, and I come in with an armload. But I want to say, first thing, I'm going to give you what I do for it. This is not proven, but I've looked this squash over. If you have trouble seeing, get you some glasses, because those worms start out, they're real tiny, and they very well could be on this squash. It's perfect, pretty squash. But there again, I have not treated this squash with anything. I have not put nothing on it in regards of, any kind of pesticide or anything. So therefore, anything could be, trying to live on it. But I wanted to show you what I have been doing. Now, so far, I've not had no trouble since I've started doing this. Now, if you pick a squash off your vine and it has a hole in it, don't bring that in the house. Discard it, feed it to your livestock, whatever you do with it, but don't put it with your good stuff, because it'll contaminate the rest of it. But all of this, as best I can tell, looks good. So I'm going to show you a little trick. And let me tell you why I'm saying this. I have brought it in before, just like this, and within maybe a couple hours or something, I would notice holes in it. And those little worms start out, they're very tiny, and I would have to have my glasses to see it. And they would be on there, but without my glasses I wouldn't see it. And while it was sitting in here, he was boring into my squash, eating it, and having himself a meal. So this is what I do. I run some lukewarm water. You don't want it excessively hot. And I'm going to just sprinkle just a little bit of salt in my water sink here. Maybe a tablespoon at the most. You can use plain salt, canning salt, even iodized salt will work on this. And I do one more extra step. I'm going to put me just a little bit of vinegar, just a little bit, just enough to stir up anything. And we're going to run this sink full of water. This is basically, I don't want it hot. I just don't want it ice cold either. And that heat will get him activated if he's on there. And I'll just go ahead and say this while I'm right here. I know there's a lot of talk about organic foods and things of this nature. I've got mixed feelings about organic stuff, and I go back to the Bible when I say that, and I'll tell you that in just a second, but I'm going to let these just soak in here for just a few minutes. That water is not cold, but it's not hot. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. If I was to put a temperature on it, I would say it's probably about 90 degrees, just to give you an idea. But just let it soak in here, and for just a few minutes, and we're going to wash it off. And I just put it over there in my dish drainer and let it dry. But anyway, what I was saying about the organic food, now don't get me wrong, I think we ought to be as clean with it. We should strive to keep it as pure and natural as possible. All these chemicals and pesticides and stuff that's going in our food now, I'm not for that, never have been. But you know, that's what it is. But what I was going to say in regards to organic, I don't see how in this the day we're living you can have anything that is truly organic and is not contaminated with some kind of foreign chemical or substance some way or another, because the Bible tells us in the book of Genesis, go all the way back to the Garden of Eden, when God drove Adam and Eve out, he put a curse on this land, and he said, by sweat of your face, not your brow, I don't know where that term came from, but he said, by the sweat of your face you're going to be eating your bread. I'm not quoting it verbatim, but that's pretty close. But we're going to have to deal with pests, worms, briars, weeds, heat, you name it, until Jesus comes. I mean, that's just the only way I know to put it. But I only share this with you, and this is kind of a, I don't know exactly where, to be honest with you, where I would say I stood on this, but I know a lady that lived not too far from us got sick, and come to find out what made her sick, she was eating fresh vegetables in a salad, and she contracted worms that got into her system. Now what kind, I don't know, but they made her sick. Now she recovered from it, thankfully, but and I'm gonna rinse these with some cool water, not hot water, and we'll just lay them right up there. But she recovered from it. So, you know, I think there's good and bad with both of it. I don't like eating a bunch of chemicals, I'll just be honest with you. I don't care too much about it, and I don't like putting anything on my stuff. But now I will say, and I've told you before, I've used 7 Dust, but I will not put 7 Dust on any plant that's beginning to set fruit. But I know it gets into the soil and it's leached up into the plant. I know that, understand that. But, you know, at least it's not directly on my fruit or vegetable that I'm harvesting. So, but I'm gonna, what I do, I let these dry, and I'll take them, I've got a towel over there on the wood heater, I'll put them on that, and we'll check them out later. But if I'm not gonna put these up, and I'll can them or whatever I'm gonna do with them. But if I don't put them up right away, I keep an eye on them just for that. But I know a lot of people's had trouble with pickle worms, and one thing I do know, the guy from Hall's Tools, somebody asked him about it. I think he did a video on it. He said, you're going to have to start pulling your squash younger. There's really nothing out there at the plant that can be done right now. And I know what my problem is. I know what started it, and it was the fact that we got our garden started late this year. But this is what I do. Let me recap everything that I do here. I know I'm kind of scattered, but I bring my squash in, I put it in lukewarm water, put a little bit of salt in the water, put a little bit of vinegar in it, and I let it soak for a few minutes. I rinse the squash off good, let it dry, and then after it dries, kind of look it over to make sure that you don't have any little worm boring a hole in it, and you should be good to go. But I thought I'd pass that along because I thought my squash was gone. I was almost that close to pulling it up because of the way, but if I had, I wouldn't have had this harvest, and we love squash here. If I could find my wife's recipe, we've got a recipe somewhere around here for making squash relish, and thought we might try to do that this year. But anyway, just thought I'd share this quick video with you, and maybe that'll help somebody. But just do not pick it. If you pick it off your vine and it has already pickleworm damage, don't keep it. Just go on and discard it, whatever you're going to do with it. But if you can find good fruit off of your vine, bring it in the house, wash it real good. Wash it in salt water and vinegar solution, just like I showed you here. You're probably looking at a tablespoon of salt, tablespoon of vinegar to a sink basin of water. So lukewarm water. So anyway, maybe you can get some common sense out of that. I just thought to pass that along. That's worked for me this week, and I've done it twice now, and so I hope that'll help somebody. Anyway, just a quick video, thought I'd stick it in here. Guys, y'all have a wonderful day tomorrow, wonderful night tonight, and anyway, God bless you. Thank you.